Welcome to In Retrospect, another quarantine edition. Today I am joined by a new group of faces. We've got Joshua TACKETT over here on my right, visual effects artist, editor, great hair, great singing voice.
Wow.
Personality, just great. And then to my left, Adam, very serious about making sure that his workspace is clean.
We should all be.
It's agreed. Adam is also an editor. He is a colorist, also cinematographer, just one of those guys that kind of does it all. And then to his left, we have Chris Diamond. And Chris is also works with TACKETT in visual effects. He's an editor, and he can also Photoshop like nobody's business.
The Retrospec business.
Right, yep. And he's got jokes for days.
We have these mugs available in the Retrospec gift shop if you guys want to. Just click on the shop. No, wait,
there's no shop button.
We need to make that. That's a good idea.
That would be fun.
Write that down. Write that down.
We thought, though, that this would kind of be a fun, break to talk about maybe what we're watching during this quarantine time. There's lots of stuff out on Netflix and Hulu and Disney Plus and Apple and all these different platforms. And obviously, we all know a lot, like the popular things like Tiger King and whatnot. But trying to figure out, maybe we could shed some light on different shows that we're watching that you maybe haven't heard of yet. So, TACKETT, do you want to maybe start? Maybe something that you've been watching? Tell us about it.
Absolutely. This is not going to excite anyone because this is an older show, but
just talk to me.
We just dove into Scandal, which is I would describe it as a political thriller. It's kind of like a more ridiculous version of West Wing. So it's got a little bit of the West Wing feel in it, but it's a lot more conspiracy. Someone's out to kill the president. Someone's out to rig elections and blah blah blah.
Who are the stars in it? Who's the headliners?
Gosh, they're all, I think, kind of unique to the show. There's one guy that I recognize. I feel like I saw him on The Walking Dead at some point. I don't remember what his name is, but there's one guy that I recognize. But everyone else is unique to the show. But it's pretty good. The first episode, I was kind of like, I'm not usually into like the typical ABC shows, but after that, it got kind of deeper and deeper, and it's addicting. So,
and where are you watching this?
It's on Netflix. So there's 7 seasons. So if you want something to do, it's all written by Shonda Rhimes, who has a masterclass on writing. So if you watch the show and you want to watch the masterclass and learn about how she wrote the show, it's pretty cool to think about. Like, she wrote the entire show. Every episode says written and created by Shonda Rhimes. So if you want to learn about screenwriting or whatever, watch the show and then watch the masterclass.
What's their occupations? Are they lawyers? Or are they?
See, they're all like technically lawyers, but they don't work.
They're more than that.
They're more like fixers. They do fix like weird problems.
They do PR kind of stuff. I think I've seen a few episodes. My wife was into it for a long time. And whenever there's like a scandal, like the name of the show, that's like they're there to fix the scandals or to hide the scandals.
She's like an expert. Yeah, exactly. It's a mixture of PR and law too. Like, they also get people out of crazy law situation, legal situations. But it's pretty cool. It's not. I wouldn't say it's realistic. It's more like more bingy fun. So, West Wing is like way more realistic, which I also recommend if you guys want to.
Is West Wing dry? I just see it just a dry piece of toast without any butter on it.
It's drier than Scandal, but if you want to almost like feel like you work at the White House, it really does feel like you work there. Like, it's crazy. It's like when you watch it, and I would always watch it before bed, and it's kind of like relaxing because they don't ever get too crazy. I don't know. I liked it. I thought it was good. It's excellent script writing by
Shonda Rhimes.
No. He also has a masterclass.
Oh, you're talking about Aaron Sorkin.
Aaron Sorkin, the guy who wrote Social Network. So the writing is awesome. But yeah.
So they're stacked on the pre-production side, almost, it sounds like.
Yeah, pretty much.
Cool.
Adam, what are you watching?
Well, I mean, I think we've all been watching Tiger King, so I won't go into any detail about that. But I think right around the time Tiger King ended in my household, the next show that Netflix promoted to us was, I have to look it up because I want to get the title right. It's called I Am Not Okay With This. and it's a narrative season, like a narrative TV drama. I mean, obviously a Netflix drama, but I think there's about 7 episodes in the first season that they just released, and it came out right before the coronavirus. So I think it kind of flew under people's radar before people were at home watching and binging stuff. But it's based off of, I think, a comic book or a graphic novel. And I think without giving much away, I mean, it's hard to describe the show without spoiling it. But I would just say, give it a watch if you haven't already. You've probably scrolled by it a bunch of times in your Netflix scroll. But it's called I Am Not Okay With This, and it's kind of a teen drama that definitely is kind of like not genre defying, but definitely goes against like some of the tropes and stuff. But there's a twist to it that I can't really talk about without spoiling it. So just check out I Am Not Okay With This. It's really not, I don't think anybody major acting in it, and there's no really influence out. It wasn't written by anybody that I had recognized or anything. And honestly, we probably wouldn't have watched it if it hadn't have just come on one day after we were watching something else. But as soon as it started going, like the opening scene, I think, of episode 1 kind of hooks you and kind of gets your attention. Like, what am I even, like, what's on my TV right now? I don't understand this. So yeah, just check it out. That's really all that I could say without spoiling it.
And that's on Netflix.
Mysterious.
Yep, it's on Netflix.
So we got 2 Netflix or 3 Netflix shows, right? Is West Wing also on Netflix? All right. So Chris, do you have anything? What are you watching?
Yeah, actually, my wife is watching this show. It's called The Grand Hotel, and how I would describe it is like it's Downton Abbey, but completely in Spanish. And when I say in Spanish, it's like Spain. It's like the
same time period.
Yeah, it's like the 1900s, and they're all living in Spain. It's all subtitled, so if you don't mind reading, it's literally, I think it's 3 seasons as of right now. About 24 episodes each season, except for the first ones, which is like 14, 15. But she's been power watching the crud out of that thing. It's like an hour an episode.
Oh my gosh.
They always leave it on the cliffhanger. There's always someone like the first episode, like this wife that's pregnant gets like knocked down a flight of stairs, and you're like, what the heck is happening? So they just like throw you right into the world, and you're following the main character. I forget his name. I'm off and on. She's just like nonstop watching it. I'll walk in. Okay, what happened? She'll pause it, like catch me up for like 3 minutes and then hit play. She's kind of annoyed, but it's whatever.
Sounds about right.
But yeah, the main character like goes to this hotel because his sister used to work there, and then she vanished mysteriously, and like she died or like something happened, and he's like trying to find out his sister, like what happened to his sister and stuff like that. So, and then of course he has to fall in love with someone there, and then she's got her like issues and everything, and then there's like the whole like servant staff has got like their own motives, and then there's like the upper rich people, like the mom that's in charge of the hotel, like her husband died and like left her the hotel, but like she's like really manipulating people, and like she's almost a villain at some point. So it's pretty interesting as far as like Downton Abbey drama type things go. But another thing I wanted to say, so that's actually on Netflix. It's called The Grand Hotel. Another one that I found. Fun fact, you can get free movies off of YouTube. You just type in YouTube movies. I think it's a YouTube sponsored channel where they have rights to these films, and whatever they seem as like, or deem as like just free movies, you watch them with ads or whatever it is. They have like The Protector 2 on there, which you guys know Tony Jaa? Mm-mm. He's like this crazy like Thai martial artist dude that kicks people, and he like knees him in the face. He's like,
is that the guy from Ip Man?
No, maybe, I don't know. I haven't seen the Ip Mans. Sorry,
another good series.
I know, it's great. Ip Man's great. Those are movies. But what I was gonna say is I watched this documentary all about The Price is Right, and it's called like The Perfect Bid, I think it's called, and it's on YouTube Movies, and they have like the Stan Lee documentary on there that just came out like last year. It's already on YouTube for free. Jeez. So I'm like, that's pretty cool. So if you want to look up some free films, and they have like this old Disney movie called It's a Girl Boy Thing or something like that, where it's like this classic like body swap, like romantic comedy, stupid thing. I don't know. But I'm like, oh, they got some pretty legit titles, and there's also like these random B movies that are on there. But YouTube Movies is, I think, the channel name. It's actually a pretty good resource to check out and watch.
I saw one the other day, a documentary. It was the Super Size Me 2. Have you guys seen that?
There's a second one?
I've seen the poster.
Well, he just, it's So he came out with the first one in the early 2000s. This one he came out with just a couple years ago. So it's been a long time. And I think 2017, but it was for free on YouTube. So I just had it on the other day and it was pretty interesting.
Yeah, it's great.
So there's a lot of cool free stuff nowadays. I'm not sure, if that's new or not, but.
Right.
Dude, I will say, I remember from the first Super Size Me where they have both burgers in the glass jars to see like how they de-age and like degrade and get all nasty. And McDonald's took like 6 months or something to show any mold on it just because it's just pumped full of hormones and like all kinds of chemicals and stuff. I was like, okay, that stands out to me.
And we had a burger for lunch too.
Well, we didn't have it from the giant M.
The premise of the second one, I won't go into detail, but he makes his own fast food restaurant.
Oh,
and
that's cool.
He goes through all of the steps of like what McDonald's or Chick-fil-A or anybody. He makes a chicken restaurant, chicken sandwiches. So in making his own restaurant, buying his own chickens, all that stuff, he kind of shows the average consumer like what they're eating and like how it's done and all that stuff, which is pretty interesting.
How the sausage
is made. He has
made.
like a store opening at the very end, and like people will come and like he goes through the entire, even like the legal process of like what farmers go through and all that stuff.
Yeah.
And is he in New York City or is he? I saw he's like in Chicago or like some big metropolitan area. Right?
I don't know exactly. I thought he was in New York in the first one, maybe Chicago, but in this one he goes to Ohio somewhere, maybe like Columbus.
Yeah, okay.
Because it's like supposed to be the test market capital of America. That city, I forget which city, but so he kind of goes to like a smaller town just to open his restaurant.
Interesting. And that's on YouTube Movies.
Right.
Completely free. Brandon, what about you?
Well, I was going to say two shows, but it's Netflix, and I feel like all we've talked about is Netflix. So
everyone has Netflix.
Everyone has Netflix.
It's true.
So it's
I don't have a Hulu, and I cared not to have one.
Why?
Because I don't want to watch ads, pay to get it, then watch ads, or you got to do a premium and feel, I don't know.
That's fair.
That and my parents don't subscribe to it, so they don't have a password for it.
Gosh.
Oh.
He's just mooching. Well, I guess
It's the family account. It's
on
the family
Netflix, both the Narcos. I think there's just Narcos and then Narcos Mexico.
I've seen those.
What's the difference?
It's they just follow like
different
stories and a little bit different timelines. It's still like in Colombia or Mexico during like.
What's the premise?
It's just following like one of them is like very heavily like Pablo Escobar for like the first, I think like. Well, I guess I can't really say because I don't want to spoil anything, but they're both incredible and they follow two different storylines, but it's just drug cartel. And like they do a disclaimer where it is like, it's based on true stories, but there's things that are like, added for,
dramatic
suspense
effect,
and whatnot. But it's really interesting. Like, and it's obviously still a problem that's like happening today. Like the war on drugs is still happening.
Is it set in like the 80s or 90s?
Yeah, like one of them is like very heavily like in the 80s. And one thing that like I love watching, and especially on the ones that are the episodes that are like heavily based in the 80s, is obviously that was filmed I think like probably 3 or 4 years ago, is how intricate and how like the art direction and the cars and the vehicles and everything. I mean, all of these shots besides massive drone shots of like the cities and whatnot, like they are just so accurate to like the time period. It's like it just draws you in, and writing's really good, the acting's really good. One of the main characters and one of them is the guy from Mandalorian. I forget his
Pedro Pascal.
Yeah, which is
Pascal.
awesome. But yeah, that's really good. And then like obviously then we go to like Disney Plus, which I'm a big fan of. If Mandalorian, but everybody's probably already watched that. The Jeff Goldblum, I think it's like The World According to Jeff Goldblum.
Dude, that is
at least
hilarious.
like right now, like at how crappy the world is, like watching that is just like a wonderful like escape
I
because
love
he's
that
so like eccentric.
Yes.
And he's like everything that you would like.
What's it about exactly, Brandon?
I mean, he literally will. I think one of the episodes was just jeans, like.
Yeah,
how
denim.
are denim? It's like how is
Sneakers.
denim made? Sneakers,
Bicycles.
ice cream, I mean, it's
Gaming.
like the gaming one, which it wasn't that great.
It was disappointing.
Yeah,
to say the least. Coming from a gamer,
somebody who enjoys video games, but he is an incredible host, and it's enjoyable.
It's like you know him.
Yeah,
he's like
you
having a
feel like you're his
conversation with
friend.
him. Yeah,
My favorite quote from him, just to show how eccentric he is. I think it's one of the first few episodes. He's interviewing somebody, and instead of saying like I'm all ears, like tell me, like he says I'm an open-faced sandwich. And from the time he says that, I was just, first of all, my wife hates it, and I like it. So she's just so driven crazy by him. So I can't really watch it like in the house.
In the presence of.
Dude, that's
I have
interesting.
to go in my car and watch on my phone.
Dude, that's what May's like. This guy's boring. I don't get it. I'm like, what? He's hilarious. She never wants to watch it. That's interesting.
So it's a guy show.
I don't know. I think Jeff Goldblum. I love
Kristen
Jeff Goldblum.
likes it. Yeah.
He's hilarious.
I think it's an everybody show. It's just I don't.
One thing that is very popular right now, I think, among most of our wives is it called Disney's Animals, or what is it?
I don't know what the series is
Animales.
called. Each movie, it's their feature length movies, is named after a different animal.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I just know that she watched the elephant one the other night and like cried. I came in and she was watching a show with elephants, and I was like, Are you crying?
So it's literally just documentary filmmakers just filming the same elephant for like days on end.
Yeah, they follow them. They have a name. Like,
is it like the British narrator? Like, here we see
John C. Reilly was actually
has fallen down.
Did the voiceover for the bear one. I don't know if you've watched that one yet.
Okay,
but it was interesting hearing like John C. Reilly, who you normally see in like incredibly vulgar like movies, but then like doing voiceover,
talking so sweetly.
He has an awesome voice. Like I love his voice. It's so
he used
specific.
to be a serious actor. Do you guys remember that?
No.
Before like was it Step Brother, or before all like the comedies and
Step
stuff?
Brothers is the pinnacle of his acting.
Before all that, he was an up and coming, like he was in serious roles, which is kind of funny.
Yeah, he was in the new King Kong film. When I say new, I mean like 3 or 4 years ago, and he played a serious role in that.
Did you see?
It was so weird.
Did you see the back of his jacket? It was the nod to I remember he had the awesome show, Good Job, Tim and Eric, and he has the Brules Rules on the back of his jacket.
Dr. Steve.
I don't remember. I haven't seen that film in a while, but I think they're making a sequel.
But you guys should, if you guys haven't checked it out, you should definitely check out those Disney animal movies.
It's pretty spectacular.
Like
the shots that they have. I mean, and they showed, and the cool thing was, I don't know if they did on all of them, but I watched the Bears one with her, and we were waiting until the end, and all of a sudden there's like BTS and like how they get these shots, because the whole time you're watching, I mean, they're like, it looks like they're 3 feet away from a wolf, like a wild wolf, and it shows like behind the scenes of how they're getting these shots, and for somebody,
that's a whole nother series, right? It's called like Behind the Elephant,
behind Pixar.
Yeah,
I think
it's incredible.
Oh, that's a completely different Disney.
I would definitely recommend.
Oh, if you like that show, and this is older, but if you haven't seen Planet Earth 2, you should go and watch it immediately. It's the film, like the cinematography on it alone is, I've never seen anything like it with animals.
Didn't they say it took over like 10 years to make Planet Earth 2?
Would not be surprised.
It's all fandom. It's all fandom footage, right? Pretty much.
There's a lot of fandom footage, but yeah, it's spectacular.
I mean, yeah, it's one of those things, like you said, you're like, this is footage of two like Gila monsters fighting. Like, how are you standing right there? You know what I mean? So, holy crap.
If you're trapped inside, the best thing you can do is watch documentaries about the great outdoors.
About how amazing our planet is, and how you can't
that kind
do that
of
right now.
balance in your life to inspire you to eventually we're all going to leave our doors, and we're just going to be able to get out. So you might as well know what's out there.
Is Netflix going to take
Gila
a
monsters? They're all out there.
That's the question. Is Netflix going to take a hit when all of this is over? Like everyone's going to go outside? No, they're not. Everyone's just like used to it and lazy now. So it's like, I don't want to go and ride my bike.
I was watching Stephen Colbert. He's been doing these like editions of his show, The Late Show, called A Late Show, in his house. And one of the things he was like, Americans, we've been ready for this. We've been preparing for this for years. Like we know how to stay home and binge TV shows and do nothing and get DoorDash delivered to our houses from across the street. Like, we're ready for this.
What if this happened like in the 80s when there was no like DoorDash, or like drive-through was just kind of starting up, and it was like really rough for people, like a completely different generation? That would be like way more insane.
Wait, are you saying there was a time before drive-through?
I've got some reality TV shows for you guys if you want to hear some. Does anyone here like reality TV?
As long as it's not The Bachelor, I'm good.
It's like it's May and I's guilty pleasure. It's like just watching like crappy, like whatever TV. We love American Pickers, and right now there's 2 seasons on Amazon, and I think they have them all on either Hulu or even YouTube. You could rent by episodes and stuff. And then, of course, Apple has all these you can rent. And then the one that we really like, that's actually the premise is a fashion show with Tim Gunn and Heidi Klum, which are the original like America's Top Model. And they're like the judges on there, but they're like the host to this fashion show that is put on by Amazon Prime. And the winners of that week's episode, whatever, they have like this crazy like runway look, and then they have the accessible look, they call it. And the accessible look they actually sell on Amazon.com that you could buy. Like every Friday they come out with a new episode, and so far it's been sold out every single one. There's like 3 or 4 episodes so far, I think, right now. And then like people will get eliminated. There's been like double eliminations, and it's like this crazy, like it's almost interactive, because you can go on Amazon right now and type in, it's called Making the Cut. And it's Heidi Klum and Tim Gunn, and they're like these fashion gurus, and they're just judging people, and they have all these other famous, like they have Nicole Richie on there, I think, and like a couple other people that are like, oh, these are like actually legit people. They're like doing a runway like in Paris. They're going to Japan. It's like, it's Amazon, so they have money, right? So they're just throwing all this money at this program. But it's really cool because you can go online and buy the dress or the suit or whatever the thing that they just made in that episode, like right then and there. It's kind of interesting.
Cool.
Yeah.
Have you bought one of the looks yet?
They've been sold out every single time. Maylene was like, I would actually wear that. She went online and it's like, no, it's gone. Instantly sold out.
Gosh.
I'll have to give that a watch.
Yeah, it's pretty cool.
Speaking of Amazon Prime, have you guys seen Man in the High Castle?
Oh, you keep telling me
I've
to watch
seen
that.
the first season.
I would describe it as one of my favorite shows since Breaking Bad, as far as like it feels like every episode feels like a movie. But it's basically, the premise is if Nazi Germany and Japan had actually won World War II,
The Axis.
What would the world be like? And there's like 4 or 5 seasons in this alternate reality. So everything is realistic except for the fact that it's an alternate, timeline. But and then some sci-fi stuff kind of comes in near the end, like later part of the show. But it's on Amazon Prime if you have. A lot of people probably have Prime right now because we got to get our deliveries. Yeah. So check that out if you haven't seen it. It's amazing.
There's 2 more shows I have, and then I'm out. But, one, if you haven't already seen it, if you're in the reality show vein, is Love Is Blind.
Oh yeah.
It is an insane look at relationships and what it. I'm not gonna lie and say that it's like profound or like philosophical, because it's totally not. But
it's reality TV.
Yeah, it's basically the concept is a group of like 10 men or 10 women. They all date each other, quote unquote, by entering a room where they can talk to each other, but they can't see each other. And so they have to eventually get to the point where they pick a person and then propose to that person, agree to marry that person, and then they get to see each other. So they see each other, then they have to like begin their relationship and / plan their wedding. So it's just chaos. The finale of the show is like extra insane. So there is a huge payoff towards the end. And then the second show I was going to talk about is called 100 Humans. Have you guys seen this?
Mm-mm.
It's
yes.
It's on Netflix. It's not really a documentary. It's more of like an infotainment kind of thing. So they take 100 humans. They have a cast of 100 extras essentially, and they're just, the whole thing is just the show is like a list of surveys in a way. So they'll have shows. I have the names of the episodes right in front of me. So it's like, what makes us attractive? So they'll do all these like crazy philosophical, not philosophical, but like psychological questions that they'll ask 100 people. And the age ranges are like from elderly people to like younger people that are in this group of 100. And they just whittle down to each like this like microcosm of our society, to try and make conclusions about this kind of stuff. So another one is, what's the best age to be alive? So they have like a group
That's cool.
a group of people from the 100 group of people that are in their 60s. They do a bunch of challenges against a group that is in their 50s, 40s, 30s, and 20s. So they figure out which decade are you most, is like your brain, your physicality, your memory is most effective by giving them challenges to do against each other. And it's pretty crazy. And it's just, the whole concept is we have 100 people at our disposal. Let's see like what we can do, and then based on what these 100 people, how they react or behave, that's like you can draw the greater conclusion about society. Or can you? Maybe you can't. So that's kind of what it is. And the episodes are usually pretty quick, and they're just generally interesting, you know.
Yeah, I've seen a couple of those. The one that stood out is like it was like the classic men versus women, like who talks more, men or women, and they have like a guy explain the game of tic-tac-toe, something simple, and like they like average the time of each individual person, like 50 men, 50 women, of how long it takes. And are you a good multitasker? And like you're like mixing something while like playing whack-a-mole. It's pretty funny. Like I've seen some of those. Those are great.
That's awesome.
Well, obviously that's a lot of shows. So if you have any shows that we didn't mention that you think we should watch, you should put them in the comments so then we could watch them, and then maybe we'll do like a follow-up and say when all this is over, like what did we enjoy watching the most? Yeah, but that's it. You guys want to say anything goodbye? You want to say any special messages to your wives? You know.
Actually, I got to get going. I got to watch some more episodes of Scandal. So.
All right. Well, he's got to go, so we should go, and that does it. Till next time.
Bye.
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 This number has been disconnected.
Bye. Cut.
Bye now.